you thinking about buying a new home and selling your current home at the same time? It can be a very confusing process. We are in the middle of it right now, and I want to share a couple things with you that has made this as smooth a process as it can be. So stick around, we're going to run through that right now. So where did this all begin? A few weeks ago, Fletcher was over here with me. We were shooting some video content, and I told him how much I love our neighborhood, and we're probably never going to move from this house until our kids, go to college. Never say never. Because 3 days later, we were out looking at a new house, my wife and I. It was a home that I thought was perfect for one of my neighbors. They had mentioned moving, they wanted some land, they wanted to spread out a little bit, needed some more room they just had another baby, needed a little bit more room. So I sent it to them. They weren't interested, but I really thought this was a great house, and my wife and I were just cruising around in the car, and I said, what do you think if we went and looked at that? We've always talked about having a little bit of acreage. And, here we were 3 days later after Fletcher was here at the house, and we're under contract on a new place. So if you are looking to buy and sell a house at the same time, where do you start? Well, I think just as if you were buying a new home, the first place to start is with your finances. You need to go ahead and take a look at what you can financially afford. Obviously, speak to a lender, figure out what amount of mortgage you're comfortable with, and what does that look like in a sales price of a new house. What assets do you have to borrow from for down payment, anything of that nature. So you need to go ahead and make sure you get your finances in order first. And then number two, we are fortunate enough where we're gonna close on the new house, and then we'll be out of this house about 3 or 4 days later when the new owners are gonna go ahead and take possession of it. But to go ahead and make all that possible, to go ahead and have that ready, number two was to come up with a plan for our current house. Luckily, I deal with a lot of different vendors, and I wanted to start off with making sure this place was looking as good as possible. So I went ahead and called my go-to inspection company and asked them to come over and do a pre-inspection on my home. This is something that I have tried to get more and more sellers to consider, but a lot of times there's usually a little bit of hesitancy because now a buyer is gonna know everything that's wrong with my home. I'm gonna tell you, that is gonna come up regardless. If you don't do a home inspection, they're gonna do one. They still may even do their own. However, I can tell you it put us on a really good track because one, I'm a real estate agent. I have to make sure I'm disclosing all material facts, so I may as well know them myself. There's certain things in the house, I'm not on the roof all the time. I'm not in the crawl space all the time. There's certain things about this house I did not know. That pre-inspection really helped me because it helped me understand any of the material defects with my house. That way I could go ahead and call different contractors and that out to make some repairs prior to getting the home on the market. So we had some stuff we were doing with our shower, with the crawl space, and then with the roof that we were making sure that we had that home inspection report. We were highlighting off what we were going to fix, giving the estimates to potential buyers that we have this work lined up. It's going to be done prior to closing, and just making sure that everybody was very clear on that. That was a big one for us. Now, once we had that part of the equation done, the next thing we want to make sure is that we get one chance at a first impression. So called up some friends that have a painting company, got them over here. We started decluttering as much as we possibly could, getting this home ready for photos. So we're touching up trim paint, wall paint, anything we can think of, and then taking any unnecessary furniture, throwing it in storage in our garage to go ahead and make this place shine as good as we possibly could. And our good friend over there, Ryan Perry, who's an amazing photographer here locally, came over. I booked him for an entire afternoon because I knew that I wanted to go ahead and get vertical reels done for social media. I wanted to do a full lifestyle video to show why we really have loved this house for the last 8 years, and we have loved it. To make sure that it all came through on video, we did some twilight shots. We did not skimp on our photography, and it absolutely just, when you get your house like that, a lot of times we'll look at each other and say, why are we selling this? Well, that's a whole thing. You realize you really did like your home, but when you're chasing something that is a dream of yours, it's time to move on. So we made sure we got the pre-inspection, we made the essential repairs, we got awesome photography done with all the help of great vendors and friends here locally. That was the number one thing that set us up and put us in a place of success. So while you're under contract, getting ready to buy that new home, getting ready to get everything out of your current home, I'm lucky that I married a super organized woman and that Erin keeps us on track, but starting with a list of all the things that need to be done, right? Transferring utilities, scheduling inspections, making sure that you're checking for a float down rate with your lender, all of those things on the purchase side, and the moving, getting multiple estimates from movers, making sure you're not paying too much, and also that you don't need 100% full service if you're just moving a couple miles down the road from us, making sure you're getting the services that you really need. All of those things, it helps to have a list, making sure that you're labeling your boxes as you're getting ready to move, getting the trampoline taken down for us. Everything begins with a plan. If you have a good solid list that you could go ahead and work through as far as when's our last day for power here, when's the new day for power at the next house, who are we going to use for internet, who's our trash provider, who's our water provider, making sure you're continually just checking that stuff off as you go will make this feel much, much more palatable, much more doable, and won't get you to the point where you're at each other's throats. So this goes back to your financial picture and knowing what you can take on financially. But we knew we could go ahead and buy the new house without selling this one, but we didn't want to have double mortgage payments for too long. So what we did was we negotiated a little bit longer closing period on the new house, got this house ready with everything we talked about, inspections, photography, paint, repairs, all that good stuff. And then when we got this home ready for market, being a realtor really helped me out. If you have a trusted agent, this is when you should be reaching out to them to put together a marketing plan and price, whole strategy for your home to make sure, that we can go ahead and get this home moved, not have a bunch of extra payments, and get it sold on successfully to the next person. So along with that, what was I doing? I was taking a look at the comps, taking a look at our school district, everything else, and making sure that we had this home priced competitively. I priced it about $25,000 less than what I thought it was worth because I know where we are comfortable with in having, if we did have double payments, how long we were going to be comfortable with that for. And although we could probably do it financially for a longer period of time, the stress that it would cause, in our day-to-day life, in our marriage, with everything else going on in our lives, we didn't want to have to do that. So we priced it a little bit under what we thought it was worth. We used coming soon, which every market is different about that. Coming soon to our advantage, where we could go ahead and get all the photography, all the videos, everything else out there online so people could see our home. However, they could not come in and view the home just yet. They can make appointments, but they could not come into the house for about a week. So during that time, I was going ahead and making sure that I was talking to everybody I knew about it, that our home was coming to the market, that we were really excited about it. It was a great deal. We loved our neighborhood, making sure that we hype it up as much as possible. So that we could go ahead and build as much excitement in that for the sale of our home and find the right person to come in and be the next owner. Now within that, we actually never showed the home. We ended up with 3 offers before we even got to the point where we were showing it. So we ended up with multiple offers just with 2 days of coming soon. The plan was to have it on coming soon for a week and then to have showing start and hopefully sell it within the first couple of weeks. But we were very fortunate there. School district and neighborhood drove a lot of that, but we were able to successfully get our home under contract pretty quickly. Now, once we're under contract on both properties, here's where the really important stuff starts for me. Trying to go ahead and make sure that we're lining up dates. So if you're fortunate enough to have a lot of interest and to potentially have multiple offers, we can try to make sure that our inspection dates are lining up, our closing dates are lining up, and by that, we wanted to make this transition as easy as possible, both for a new buyer and for ourselves. So what we did was our inspection dates were pretty close. When we finished inspections on the new house and when the buyers were finishing their inspections here, we're pretty close in their target dates. So we knew that the buyers here were going to continue to move forward. And then on our closing date, we actually pushed forward because we said we negotiated a longer closing for the new house. We went ahead and pushed that date forward. So we get about 4 or 5 days previous to this house selling. Reason for doing that is I don't want to be super rushed as we're moving from one house to the other. having 4 or 5 days to go ahead and get all of our stuff out of this house into the new house and start to go ahead and make it feel like home, not feel super rushed, and actually get things put away where they need to go instead of just throwing it all in the garage. That is something that you just need to figure out what you're comfortable with. If you need the funds from your current home to buy the new home, then you may need to even get a little bit more aggressive on pricing, maybe negotiate even a little bit longer of a closing to make sure that you have the funds from this house to get into the next house. You could do a double closing on the same day. You could sell this house, move into the next one the following day. There's several ways to do it. You know, the attorneys can wire funds for you and make sure that's all possible. But the biggest thing I want to drive home from all of this is if you're doing this, if you're crazy enough to try to do both at the same time, there's going to be some stress involved. None of this is guaranteed. You know, we work with a plan, but that's where it all has to start. Start with a plan, make sure that you feel comfortable in your financial picture and ready to move forward, that you and your partner are on the same page, that you both buy into this dream that you're chasing, because if not, it's probably going to be more of a stressful process than you really want to take on. So those are just a couple of things that we did to find success in this current market. We went ahead, talked to our financial advisor, made sure that we were very comfortable with the new mortgage because rates are significantly higher than what we have here on our current home. So making sure we're really close on our clear on our finances with our financial planner and with our mortgage lender. 2, prep and stage your home, make it as ready as we possibly could. And then number 3, not going cheap on photography, on pre-inspections, on all those things. You get one chance in this market, in any market, at a first impression. Make it shine. So if you're in the market, if you're curious about, could you do this? Would this work for your family? If you're here local in Winston-Salem, we would love to help you. This is what we do on a daily basis. So give me a call, 336-582-9210, or shoot me an email at joel@sandmanrealtync.com. I'd love to sit down and have a consult with you to figure out how we could go ahead and make all these things line up and get you into that home that you're crazy about. Take care, guys.